James was an ordinary delivery boy working at a local restaurant. Every day, he zipped through the city on his bike, delivering food to customers. It was a job like any other: deliver the food, collect the payment, and move on to the next order. But James had a habit that made him different. He always went the extra mile. One evening, after a long and tiring shift, James received his last order of the day. It was for an old lady named Mrs. Thompson, who lived alone at the edge of the town. The restaurant had warned him that she rarely tipped, and most delivery boys found her ungrateful. Still, James took the order and rode off. When he arrived, he noticed Mrs. Thompson struggling to open the door. Her hands trembled as she reached for the food. Instead of rushing off, James stepped forward, saying, "Let me help you, ma'am." She looked surprised but allowed him to place the food inside. As he was about to leave, he noticed a flickering light bulb near her doorway. "Would you like me to change that for you?" he asked. The old woman hesitated but nodded. James found a spare bulb in a drawer and replaced it. When he was done, Mrs. Thompson smiled, a rare sight, as people said. "No one ever does anything without expecting something in return," she muttered, her voice softer now. James simply smiled, tipped his cap, and left. The next day, the restaurant owner called James into his office. James wondered if he had done something wrong. But instead, his boss handed him an envelope. "Mrs. Thompson called this morning. She said you changed more than just a light bulb yesterday," the boss said with a smirk. James opened the envelope to find a handwritten note: "Thank you for your kindness. People often overlook those who serve them. You reminded me that goodness still exists. I may not have given you a tip yesterday, but here's something better, a recommendation. My son owns a logistics company. He's looking for someone who doesn't just do the job but goes the extra mile. I told him about you." Along with the letter was a business card. James was speechless. His small act of kindness had opened a door he never expected. He went for the interview, got the job, and within a few years, he was managing an entire team. All because he chose to go the extra mile. Success doesn't always come from talent or intelligence. Sometimes, it comes from doing just a little more than expected, offering a helping hand, being kind when no one else is, or simply going the extra mile. What you give today may come back to you in ways you never imagined.